Morning, Steve Ray in Chicago with the morning grain comments. Well, happy Friday, everybody. I think the main thing that we're looking at overnight is just a lot of news. I think, first of all, there's some optimism that the president will be meeting Chinese trade negotiator this morning. The Chinese newspapers are filled with articles about how the United States should accept the partial deal, and we just really don't know what's on the table. There's talk about them purchasing more soybeans. This week in the export sales, they purchased on a weekly basis a record amount of U.S. pork, and they talked about buying more U.S. pork, and could open up the door for maybe some purchases of wheat, corn, maybe even ethanol. So the big question is, what does the U.S. have to agree on to get that buying? And some people think it's not increasing the tariffs on October 15th and in December's. Others think they might want to drop all the tariffs altogether. Again, the president is using tariffs as leverage to try to get a complete deal. The second thing is we note that there was some progress done in Europe as far as BRICS is concerned. And so the British pound is sharply higher relative to the U.S. dollar. We also note that an Iran tanker was hit in that area, and concern about escalation of tension between maybe Iran and Saudi Arabia has crude oil up. We also have beans up 9 to 10 cents, corn up 4, wheat up a couple of cents. We're trying to recover, especially in the corn and wheat from yesterday's USDA bearish news. First of all, it doesn't really matter to price, but I don't agree with the USDA's corn number. I think they're too high. It was interesting that they came out and said for corn, they lowered slightly the ear count, but the ear weight was increased slightly higher. And that's one thing that I don't know if the USDA has the technology or methodology to maybe plug in a lower ear weight because of this year's weather conditions. As far as the soybeans are concerned, I think their numbers were supportive. And I think that should help trend soybean prices higher. The key there is whether we have a trade deal with China or not. The USDA said that they increased the pod count slightly higher, and the implied pod weight was reduced, but still was at some high levels. And again, farmers are reporting early yields that seeds aren't quite there in the pods, and that they're smaller. And I think that that's something that we could see down the road as far as maybe even a lower crop size in the soybeans. The problem is that when analysts start looking at historical data, there's not much change from October to November. And if the USDA raises the corn yield in October, even though it's a slight increase, they tend to increase it also in November. And the other thing is we didn't get a really change in any acres. We were all looking for lower corn acres for the implied crop insurance data, and we didn't get that. So we still have some uncertainty as far as what the crop size are. So I think the corn carryout's closer to 1,700 versus 1,900, and the bean carryout might be closer to 400 than 460, which eventually could support prices. We also noted that the 11 to 16-day U.S. Midwest weather indicates active patterns of above-average precip and average temps for the plains in the Midwest. We're kind of dealing with this snow/rain event that's moving across the Midwest now, and we'll just expect that the 11 to 16-day forecast could slow harvest down, and maybe that's supportive, especially in the nearby corn market that's not seeing as much corn coming into the pipeline because of the late harvest. Managed funds yesterday sold wheat. They sold 40,000 corn and bought 6,000 beans. We estimate right now that they are short 25 wheat, 150 corn, and long about 10,000 beans. So again, a lot of news affecting stock prices, crude oil prices, a lot of uncertainty as far as trade deal goes in Washington. Obviously, if they announce there could be a deal, that'll be positive to stocks, it'll be positive to energy, it'll be positive to beans, and then positive to pork. If they say, nope, we're going to come back 2, 3, 4 months down the road and talk again, it should be negative to all those markets. So a lot of volatility depending upon just one announcement or one little tweet. As always, these are my thoughts and not those of ADM Investor Services. Have a safe and profitable trading day.